Base dollar or base dollar?
Dalad.
Why did I have that wrong?
That's number, if you look at number 19 on the list there.
It's probably no. Okay, I didn't put a tissue there. No. I ended up speaking Hebrew a little bit to people there. I kept forgetting where I was. Okay, Dalad. There we go. That's the one I missed. Okay, yeah, well done. Okay. The idol of a Gentile becomes prohibited immediately, but that of a Jew does not become prohibited until it is worshipped. A Gentile can nullify his idol and that of his fellow Gentile, but a Jew cannot nullify a Gentile's idol. If one nullifies an idol, he has nullified its accessories. If he nullified its accessories are permitted, but it remains prohibited. How does he nullify it? If he cut off the tip of its ear, the tip of its nose, the tip of its finger, or he denied it, even though he did not diminish it, he has nullified it. If he spit in front of it, urinated in front of it, dragged it through the mud, or threw excrement at it, it is not nullified. If he sold it or gave it as a pledge, Rebbe says he has nullified it, but the comments say he has not nullified it. An idol that was abandoned by its worshippers, if this occurred in time of peace, it is permitted for benefit in time of war, it is prohibited. Royal pedestals are permitted because they erect them only when the kings pass.
Okay. Mishna Zayin, Shalu es has the Canaan Barami. So the Roman statesman decided to have some fun with the Jews and asked them a klotz kasha and said, okay, so you say that God is in charge of the world, and so and he creates and destroys, and everything lives or dies at his everything exists at his pleasure. Then why does he tolerate the existence of Avoda Zara? Let him destroy them all. Okay, Amru lahen, ilu ledavar she'ein tzorech leolam bo hayu avdim hayam vatlo. If the only Avoda Zara in the world was sticks and stones and things that people have carved, then sure, Hashem would wipe them out. People worshipping the sun and the moon and the stars and the constellations. So so is Hashem going to destroy his world because of a bunch of idiots who are going to worship it? Okay. Said so in that case, why doesn't Hashem just destroy the ones that the world doesn't need? So let him leave the sun and the moon and just to wipe out all of the wooden idols. Because if you do that, if there's this big thing where Hashem goes through the world and purges all of the sticks and stone idols, and then all the sun worshippers will say, ha ha, see, you could destroy all of those, but you couldn't destroy the sun. See, they're worthwhile. These are real gods because Hashem couldn't destroy them. Okay. Mishna ches lokhin gas beuta shel min hanokri. Okay, so this is now talking about the fact that the background to this Mishnah is that any wine that has been touched by a nochri is asur b'hana, not just asur b'achila, but asur b'hana. Okay, you're not allowed to have any benefit from it. So now, this Mishnah is telling us that if the nochri wants to sell his wine press and it's still got wine, there's the place where the wine is pressed, and then there's a channel where it flows down and falls, and then it later falls into the vat. So the question that we're dealing with over here is the stuff that's been squeezed, that's in the pile of stuff that's been squeezed and is busy dripping down the channel, is that considered wine, or is it only once it falls into the vat that it's now considered wine in terms of the Isur? And our Mishnah says that the Jew may purchase this vat, the wine press that's already got stuff in it from the goy, even though he's taken the crushed grapes with his hands and put them into the pile where they're going to drop, where the drippings are going to go down into the vat. Okay, the eno nase yain nesech ad sheyered labor. It only becomes yain nesech once it goes into the vat. Okay. Yarad labor, and once the wine is dripped into the bor, mashe bor asur v'hashar mutar. Anything that's in the vat is prohibited, and the rest is mutar. And this is not the halacha. The Gemara goes on to explain that actually the halacha does not follow this Mishnah, that we do treat the wine that's dripping even in the channel going down is also treated as yain nesech, and therefore he cannot. He can purchase the press, but he can't use anything that's in it. He has to clean it out, throw it all away, and only then can he start making his own wine.
Okay.
Following on in the same halacha, dorchin imanokri bagas. So this Mishnah follows the same halacha that was paskin in the previous Mishnah, and let's put on those glasses again, where according to the Tana of this Mishnah, the wine in the channel is not yet asur, only what's in the vat is asur. Okay, dorchin imhan nochri bagas. So therefore, if the non-Jew is busy pressing his wine, and you got people, walking on the grapes to squish them, and he wants to hire some Jewish help to come and help him. So if the wine that's coming out is asur b'hana, then he is in effect getting a salary for something that's asur in hana. Okay, so he can't. So, but again, according to the previous Mishnah, it's not asur until it hits the vat. So what he's squeezing out is still mutar. But says the Mishnah, you may not pick grapes with the goy. Why can't he pick grapes with the goy? Because according to this Tana, there's an isser to cause tumah to Paris Eretz Yisrael, even if they're not truma, even if they're not going to be done. Nothing's going to happen. It's just regular chulin grapes, but you're not allowed to cause tumah to them. And since the goy for sure is going to prepare stuff in tumah, so therefore you're not allowed to help him harvest the grapes. But once the grapes are in the vat, says the Tana, you're allowed to squish the grapes with him because they're already tamei and malasot, and squeezing the juice out. Okay, so you're getting tamei juice out, but the juice is still mutar. As a matter of fact, this is the halacha is puked verkehrt from what the Mishnah says. Because we said, as we said in the Gemara in the last Mishnah, you're not allowed to squeeze the grapes with him in the vat, because it becomes asur b'hana as soon as it comes out, because it's all mixed with the goy's wine. Okay, he's already making it asur. But botzrin, there's no problem with harvesting the grapes with him, because there's no isur. Lahalacha. So the Tana who said this said that you're not allowed to cause tumah to Paris Eretz Yisrael, even chulin. And the halacha is you can. So therefore, it turns out that you are allowed to harvest with him, but you can't squish the grapes with him. Yisrael shuhu oseh b'tumah. Now, what happens if you've got an Am Haaretz who doesn't know how to make his grape juice, his wine, without making it tamei? Okay. So lo dorchin v'lo botrinimo, not allowed to press the grapes with him, not even allowed to harvest the grapes with him. Why? Because what's the problem? They're chulin grapes, but you're causing tumah to the trumas and mastros that are going to be coming out of it. We're not worried about trumas and mastros when it comes to the goy, because he doesn't have to give, right? But for the Jew, he has to give trumas and mastros, and by participating with him, you're lending a hand to his avera that he's making the trumas and mastros tamei. Okay, but you are allowed to help him take barrels to the wine press, or maybe in imo minagas, and you're allowed to take the barrels from the gas, because whatever tumah has been caused. You're not allowed to participate with him, even if he already made at the point of making a tamei. So, for example, during the harvesting, if his hands are wet, or if he's squeezing, like he's getting juice and making the grapes tamei, so you're not allowed to participate in any phase of that during the phase when he's making it tamei. You can't participate, even if it's already tamei. But once it's a new phase, and all you're doing is carrying the already tamei grapes to the vat, or carrying the already tamei wine out of the vat, 100%, no problem. Okay. Now, a similar thing. He has a baker. Again, he's an Am Haaretz. He doesn't know how to keep his bread tahor. Lo lashin v'lo orchin imo. you may not knead with him, and you may not roll the dough with him because you're making the challah portion that has to go to the kohen. You really want to do that b'tara. Okay, so it's lending a hand to the Ofri Avera by helping him to make it betuma. But you are allowed to take the bread itself to the
retailer,
the shopkeeper.
Right.
Right. I just got a little bit confused a second there because a palter, we talk about pas palter as being sort of professionally baked bread, which you're allowed to eat from a goy. Right? There's a heter to have, otherwise, where were Jews going to get bread from throughout the ages? Right. So pas palter was mutar, but that's like, I'm thinking that's like a nachtom, isn't that the same as a nachtom? But the palter is a merchant, so I guess it's merchant bread, not as opposed to pas balabais, because home baked bread by a goy is aser.
Right.
Right. But professionally baked bread is mutar. And that is the end of the story.
Well, I see in some of these places that you go in, some people are wearing kippahs and some aren't. Some of them are even cooking, some of them are serving, some of them, it's always having a question in my mind,
In what sort of case? What's the case?
You're in a restaurant or something, and some of the guys behind the counter, who are cooking, they're not wearing kippahs, and some of them are wearing kippahs.
That's not a problem because you have a mashgiach who checks what they're doing, so they're not going to do anything wrong. It's not. Our Mishna is concerned about tumah. We're no longer concerned about tumah because everyone is tameh.
Right.
Our Mishnah was concerned because we had the situation where Kohanim could eat a betara in their time. Our time, it's not. Everything is being prepared b'tumah. So what we're really worried about now is kashrus, and kashrus is a lesser standard. We just need to make sure that no treifas came in, no basa b'chalav is happening, and for that, all you need is one mashgiach who just keeps an eye on.
If he's the one who lights the stove in the morning and the oven, and gets everything prepared, then I guess it's
only necessary if there's a goy involved. It's only necessary if you've got goyim who are cooking, because then it's considered bishul akum.
Right. So then it's just a matter of okay, I got it. Right. I just think it's always something. I always like to see a lot of guys with kippahs walking around, doing the cooking. So
yeah,
all right, good, thank you. Okay, now we're going back to 10. Even in a place in which they said it is permitted to rent, they did not say so for a place of dwelling, because he brings idols into it. And as it is written, do not bring an abomination into your house. In any place, you should not rent him a bathhouse, because it is called by his name. One may not stable an animal in the inns of idolaters, because they are subject in regard to bestiality. Nor may a woman be alone with them, because they are subject to regard to immorality. Nor may a person be alone with him, because they are suspect to regard to murder. A Jewish could not assist in idolatrous in its childbirth, because she causes a child to become born in idolatry. But an idolatrous woman may assist a Jewish in childbirth. A Jewish should not nurse the child of an idolatrous woman, but an idolatrous may nurse the child of a Jewish in her domain. Okay. One more?
Yeah.
One may seek medical treatment, that is healings, for his possessions, literally for the healing possessions, but not for personal healing. One may not take haircuts from them in any place. They are the words of Reb Meir. They can come and say, in a public place it is permitted, but not in a private, literally between him and him. Okay. All right. Over there and go on to base Stalin.
Shavuos.
Oh, wait, that's it. Oh, so I thought what I did before, we put it in the wrong place. Okay, I got it. Oh, good. Okay.
Shavuos Zayin.
Just as they said that a woman who pays her ketubah is not paid with an oath, and that one against whom a single witness testifies and it is not paid except with an oath, and that from the mortgage property or from the property of orphans she is not paid except with an oath, and that one who receives payment in his absence is not paid except with an oath. So too orphans are not not paid except with an oath. We swear that our father did not enjoin us, neither did our father tell us, nor did we found among our father's documents that this note is paid. The Yochanan ben Broka says, even if the son is born after the father's death, he swears and collects. Said Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, if there are witnesses that the father said at the time of his death, this note is not paid, he collects without an oath. The following must swear, though no claim is lodged: partners, sharecroppers, administrators, the wife who manages the affairs of the house, and the son of the house. If he said to him, what claim do you lodge against me? And he replied, I want you to swear to me, he is liable. If the partners of the sharecroppers divided, he could not make him swear. If an oath was imposed upon him from elsewhere, they impose upon him an oath for the entire claim. The Shemitah year releases one from an oath. Okay.
One more.
Page here. Okay, there are 4 types of shomer. The unpaid shomer, the borrower, the paid shomer, and the renter. The unpaid shomer swears for everything. The borrower pays for everything, and the paid shomer and the renter swear concerning an animal that broke a limb, an animal that was captured, and an animal that died, but they pay for the loss or death or theft.
Okay. And
okay, $10. If one exchanges a cow for a donkey and it calves, and similarly, if one sells his maidservant and she gives birth, this one says, it happened before I sold, while this one says, it happened after I bought. They divide. If he had 2 slaves, one large and one small, and similarly, if he had 2 fields, one large and one small, the buyer claims he bought the large one, while the other says he does not know. He receives the large one. If the seller says he sold the small one, while the other one claims he does not know, he receives only the small one. If this one claims it was the large one, while this one claims it was the small one, the seller must swear that he sold the small one, and if both say they do not know, they divide it.
Right, so now, before you carry on, do you remember who is the Tana who says that in a case of a doubt, then you divide it equally?
No, I would say Rabbi
Sumchus.
Because he's always the one who comes in at the end.
He's the one who says in case of doubt, split it. That is not the halacha. The halacha is hamotzi mechaver ala baraya.
Split it.
Right.
One sells his olive trees for the wood, and they produce less than a quarter log per saw. They belong to the owner of the olive trees. If they produce a quarter log per saw, and this one claims my olive trees produced it, while this one claims my lamb produced it, they divide. If a river washed away his olive trees and placed them in the midst of his neighbor's field, and this one claims my olive trees produced them, while this one claims my lamb produced them, they divide. If one rents a house to his neighbor, he cannot evict him in the winter from Sukkot until Pesach, unless he gives him notice in this summer, 30 days before, 30 days. In big cities, both in summer and winter, he must give 12 months notice. With stores, both in towns and cities, he must give 12 months notice. The Rosh Hashanah says with bakeries or dye shops, he must give 3 years notice. If one rents a house,
yeah. Okay.
On to Yevamos.
Yeah.
Okay, Tess. If 3 brothers were married to 3 strangers, and one of them died, and then the second performed mamah with her and also died, they require chalitza, but may not be taken in yibum. As it is stated, and one of them dies, her husband's brother shall come to her. Only a widow who is attached by one brother's bond is subject to yibum, not a widow who is attached by 2 brothers' bonds. Reb Shimon says he may perform yibum with whichever one he wishes, but he must then perform chalitza with the other. If 2 brothers were married to 2 sisters, and one of them died, and the second one's wife died, she is forbidden to him forever because they were once forbidden to him. If 2 men who betrothed 2 women, but when they entered the bridal canopy, they confused one with the other, they are obligated to bring a sin offering because of adultery. If they were brothers because of the prohibition against a brother's wife, if they were sisters because of the prohibition against a wife's sister, if they were menstruant because of the prohibition against a menstruant, we separate them for 3 months in case they are pregnant. But if they were minors and capable of childbirth, we store them immediately. If they were daughters of Kohanim, they are disqualified from eating truma. And if someone performed chalitza with this Yevama, and then she was found to be pregnant, she gave birth, if the child is capable of living, is permitted to marry her relatives, and she is permitted to marry his relatives, if he has not disqualified her from the priesthood. If the child is not capable of living, he is forbidden to marry her relatives, and she is forbidden to marry him, and he has disqualified her from the priesthood. If someone married his
Yevama, that's it, we're done. That's it. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
we have okay. Olive, oh hey. Okay,
Ches.
so, hey. If 10 saplings,
Aleph Ches.
oh, so, 6, okay. If 10 saplings are spread over a bed saw, the entire bed saw may be flat.
No, 8. Mishnah 8.
Oh, my eyes are going bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Mishnah 8.
1-8, yeah.
Until when are they considered saplings? If Elisab is an Zara says until they become permitted. Rabbi Shua says until they're 7 years old. And Rabbi Akiva says as long as they called thus. If a tree was cut down and produced fresh shoots, if 1 handbreadth or less, it is accounted a sapling. If more than a handbreadth, it is accounted a tree. So says Reb Shimon. Until when may a white field be plowed in the 6th year? Until the moisture has dried up, as long as the people plowed to plant cucumbers or gourds. Reb Shimon says, you put the law for each man into his own hand, rather in a white field until Pesach and in an orchard until Shavuos. If one may manure and hoe cucumber and gourd fields until Rosh Hashanah. Likewise, irrigated fields, one may cut off floors, strip off leaves, cover up with the earth, or fumigate until Rosh Hashanah. Reb Shimon says one may even remove a leaf from a grape cluster in the 7th year.
Okay. And Kalim.
It was funny. I'm in the store and I'm looking at the fruit to buy. I say, I wonder if they took too much mice or something. This thing, and I'm saying, what am I doing? What am I talking about?
You're in America.
Man. All right. We have a guest. A table that has one of its legs removed is tahor. If the second leg was removed, it is tahor. If the third leg was removed, it is tameh. Well, when one has the intent for it. Rabbi Yossi says no intent is necessary, and the same is true for the lufka.
Once you removed all the legs of the table, it's now a working surface. And even though it's not normally we say with the Kli-8s that it needs a lip, it needs to be a container in order to be a makabel tumah. Right. But when it comes to a working surface, the Midrabanan, they said it should be makabel tumah because people use it, for rolling dough and whatever. So therefore, it's still makabel tumah.
A bench that has one of its ends removed is tahor. If the second end was removed, it is tahor. If it has a height of 1 tefach, it is tameh. A footstool that has one of its ends removed is tameh, and the same is true for the stool in front of the katedra.
Which is a prominent, like a throne or something like that. It's a very chashuva chair.
Regarding a bridal chair whose panels were removed, Beit Shammai rules the chair tameh, but Beis Hillel rules it tahor. Shammai says even the frame of the chair is tameh. Regarding a chair that was attached to its kneading trough, Beis Shammai rules the chair tameh, but Beis Hillel rules it tahor. And Shammai says even a chair that was built into a trough is tameh.
Okay.
Getting my head back into that.
Yeah. Welcome back. Nice to have you back.
Thank you. Tomorrow's Rosh Chodesh.
Where is Rosh Chodesh?